First, I would like to share my joy and honor for participating in this opening webinar, and also for being able to be part of this initiative regarding India's fortified heritage. This is a very symbolic event, as the values of the India cultural heritage transcends the national character, as the rich story of India is rooted in the foundations of human history, and the story of humanity is directly related to the story of its military heritage, its fortifications, castles, and other sites that represent the possession of man and the flourish of a society in a territory. In times of crisis, like the one we are currently experiencing due to the pandemic and these reflections on the way we produce in life, we must look back at these monuments and review every moment of victories, mistakes, and the many new beginnings of humanity. This will certainly allow us to strengthen our hope and define new directions without the stumbling blocks of the past. To stimulate the search in this brief, I will address a question that I think is major to institutions that work with fortified heritage. How can the international and national scientific committees of our ICOMOS effectively influence the forms of preservation and the best use of fortifications and military heritage? The possible answers to this question include reflections that must begin with philosophical aspects until reaching the object dimension of pragmatic planning methodologies. At the same time, they are affected by local demands, available resources, national and international social-political contexts, and even by the continuous threatening uncertainty about the future. But all of this response, in order to be legitimate, must have a converging principle, has a common perspective, which may seem innocent and childish, but it is eternal: the search of a human being for happiness and welfare. We have made efforts to materialize the discussion at ICOFORT throughout a strategic plan prepared by our Bureau, which defines in detail all the actions that the Committee intends to develop in the coming years. In order to that, to define what we should plan, we initially referred to the ICOFORT mission, which is research and promotes the understanding, protection, conservation, exposing, and management of historical fortifications and military heritage. From our mission, we can infer that we would need to produce very well-defined elements, such as scientific research, training, courses, and awareness and dissemination actions on fortified heritage. Moreover, we also verified the need to establish premises that legitimize for society this work, and a structural planning that guarantees its quality and real influence on the demands that we want to improve. Thus, initially we defined as premise to elaborate a plan that followed as principles to generate positive reflex for the local communities, that was built under criteria of sustainability, and that has executed by members of the ICOFORT acting in network in all the continents, in partnership with other local institutions. Based on this view, centered on the relationship of mutual appreciation between man and his cultural heritage, he defined our 6 strategic objectives. 3 of them are aimed at structuring the committee itself and seek to expand the capacity for international representativeness of ICOFORT throughout the decentralization of actions and incentives to regional and local initiatives. Raise funds to support projects and actions of a triennial plan. It developed a continuous improvement process to streamline the management of ICOFORT. 2 other objectives deal specifically with the generation of products and results, aiming to establish networks and partnerships with cultural and natural heritage institutions and local government agencies for projects and research on the management, conservation, interpretation, and reuse of fortified and military heritage, with an emphasis on local and community development, and increase the interest of the society in the fortified and military heritage, generating spaces for dissemination and information material, supporting projects about heritage education and interpretation, and encouraging young emerging professionals to join ICOFORT. As the 6th and final strategic objective, fundamental to any planning, we guarantee total continuity with the ongoing actions initiated in previous years, which in truth underpin everything we plan for the future. It is important to highlight that this planning is based on 15 years of ICOFORT activity, during which a distinguished group of researchers and professionals developed numerous high-level initiatives in favor of fortified and military heritage, led by the Honorable former Presidents Lydia Krups and Milagros Flores Roman. These objectives generated 29 strategic actions to be developed through the 83 activities, in a plan to be carried out as far as possible in 3 years. The integrated reading and analysis of these objectives, actions and actives allows to glimpse some answers to the question I made at the beginning of my speech. And I believe that much of what is in your plan can serve as a basis for planning the national committees that work with fortified and military heritage, safeguarding the necessary local adaptations. However, if I had to finally summarize how a scientific committee should start its planning, I would say, look at your people and find out what they need to live and what they think about fortified heritage. Make these 2 actors fortified heritage and people know each other. Look at the monuments and sites and find out how these sites can help the people. And finally, discover how both people and fortified heritage can protect and generate benefits for each other. I believe that in this way we will really make a difference in the preservation of the fortified and military heritage. I believe that in this way we will preserve the legacy of challenges, persistence, and new beginnings, engraved on the atoms and the essence of the stones of our forts and castles, in order to achieve every desire for peace, prosperity, and happiness that humanity has longed for so many millennia. Thank you very much.